experience with ChatGPT in 60 seconds.
You know, it's interesting. When we started to use ChatGPT and AI writing tools to help us with our copy, it was pretty amazing. We got email subject lines, we got scripts for videos, social media ideas. The sky was the limit for us. But we started to realize that the content was actually very generic. In fact, a lot of the terminology was the same. For some reason, AI loves the word unlock. And I think what we started to realize was that if we didn't add the HI, the human intelligence, which is specifically how we can make these stories more personable and how we can actually make these stories about our lives and about the lives of our contacts, without that, it doesn't really make an impact. So now what we've realized is that without HI, you can't really have any value in AI.
Welcome to the Dubb channel, where we educate, entertain, and elevate CEOs, entrepreneurs, and sales leaders just like you.
The first thing that we need to talk about is where we can use ChatGPT for our business, specifically to drive sales growth, more revenue for our business. Now, I like to break this down in a couple of different categories. The first one is the emails that you're writing. The second one is the scripts that you're using for phone conversations and even teleconferences like Zoom meetings. And then the third thing is the content that you're creating to try to drive your brand up and ultimately attract your clients. Now, the thing that's really interesting about ChatGPT and pretty much any AI tool is that if you don't specify the type of tone, the type of audience that you're trying to cater to, and ultimately what you're trying to accomplish, it's not going to have the correct context in order to determine what the writing should be. So the first thing that you want to do before you figure out where to use AI is who are you using AI on? What type of writing for which type of channel to which type of person to ultimately accomplish which type of goal. Once you specify those things, you can integrate those into your prompt for whatever task that you have, and ultimately you're going to see much better quality content. So when it comes to emails, there's something really interesting that takes place. And I think that what we all need to figure out first is what your email funnel is. Now, the typical email funnel is that number one, that it actually even gets sent to someone's inbox. The second is that they read the subject line and they decide to open it, followed by reading the copy in the body of the email, or hopefully seeing a video that you included, and then clicking on it, followed by going to a landing page where people can watch an actual video, read more content, and then the next one, which is clicking on the call to action. Now, after the user clicks on the call to action, there's a lot of different possibilities. They can fill out a form, they can complete a checkout, they can book a time in your calendar. The sky is the limit on that. When you think about what your actual sequence is for your email marketing, you can understand that you don't just have one goal. You have multiple goals to get them through the entire funnel from A to Z. Now, when we think about our subject lines, the goal in this case is not to get them to click on it or to actually convert. The goal is simply to get them to open the email, which is why you'll notice that AI chooses a lot of very creative email subject lines. Now, you'll notice that AI doesn't use a lot of gimmicks. It uses a lot of terminology around value, like unlock or unleash or realize the potential. And I think the reason why it's doing that is because it's trying to capture curiosity ultimately that serves a specific need that helps someone solve a problem. So as you start to figure out how to use AI for every aspect of your email, just remember, what is the goal? Because each type of copy has a different goal down the entire email funnel. There's a couple of keys on using ChatGPT for social media videos. And the first is figuring out what topics to explore. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but the content that you actually find on ChatGPT is not always current. In fact, if you go to the OpenAI website or the AI sites for Microsoft or Google, you'll notice that the data is actually not served in real time. It's several years old, which means that you can't rely on ChatGPT to give you the freshest content that is most popular on the internet right now. You need to use the native social channels to figure out what is interesting and what is trending. So the first tip that we have to give you is to not use ChatGPT or any AI engine to figure out what type of topic you can write, because it might be outdated. You want to make sure that you mine your content calendar based on what your customers are asking you and what is trending on those social networks. Now, once you have figured out your topics, having ChatGPT help you to figure out what to say is absolutely beneficial. And I think the reason why it's so helpful is because there is a popular effective framework when you tell stories, and it starts with a hook and then providing value and then giving social proof and then providing some sort of a call to action. When you use that general framework, when you share stories, you're going to captivate people's interest and then parlay that into a specific action, which is going to help you and it's going to help them. So using AI to help you write your content within this framework is really going to help you. But as mentioned before, you need to always mention what is the tone and what is the goal. So once you have your topic, within the prompt, you can specify who your target audience, what your goal is, and how you can deliver your content in a story arc that initially captivates people and then directs people into a specific directive action. Now, a story that I'd like to share with you from my personal life is when I was being interviewed on the news once, and the person was asking me very specific personal questions about my life. And it was really easy for me to deliver that story because it was mine. It was personal. I started to share stories about when I initially got into technology and when I started getting captivated about the idea of using video for communication. Now, when I came back to my office later that afternoon, I was working with a cameraman, and this cameraman said, listen, what we need to do is we need to summarize the talk that you did on that news show, and you need to turn it into a webinar, something that's educational for people. And all of a sudden, I blanked. I was not able to share my personal stories. It became work, and I was simply not able to be conversational in a way that connected with people. It completely stripped all of the humanity out of it, and it became absolutely robotic. And what I learned in that moment is that human beings best communicate when we're being storytellers, when we're being conversationalists. If we try to be too robotic and too regimented and too scripted, it's not going to drive an impact with our listeners and our viewers. So the final key here is how to use ChatGPT for the videos that you create. Now, the first thing that I want to recommend is that you don't actually generate your specific scripts and then read those from a teleprompter, because it's going to lack the human element to it. It's going to lack your stories and your conversation and what your story arc is. So what we always recommend that people do, first start out with an outline, build a framework up and include prompts so that you can mention stories about your life, how you were able to ultimately solve a problem that benefited you and someone else, and that ultimately you built your personal brand as a result of many, many, many stories like this. So remember, when you're using ChatGPT, don't use it to generate your specific script. Use it to build a blueprint, a framework, an outline, and then go fill in the gaps with your personal stories so that ultimately you can create relationships, create connections with people, and then get the conversions that you deserve for your business. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and please click the bell so you get a notification when we drop a new video. Thank you for watching this video, and best of luck on your journey using ChatGPT and other AI engines to help you write sales copy. We will see you at the next video.